And Merry Christmas. It is our Christmas edition of What Do You Know About Sports, recording this on December the 19th, 2023. So, with Christmas only a few days away, that's going to be sort of our theme today. And welcome to the show. Randy Steinman, longtime sportscaster here. We've got Gary Jeffries, longtime coach, and Lance Roberts, longtime referee and official. And fellas, Merry Christmas. How are we doing?
Pretty festive. We're ready to go.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you as well.
That's a fine looking Christmas tree you've got there, Lance.
I worked all night on that.
I'll bet. I don't know that it looks wide enough to get any presents under there, but
don't tell Karen that I said I worked on that. Okay.
Well, good luck. Good luck with it. All right. Well, we got lots to talk about this week, and we'll start with what just happened the other day. The Ottawa Senators made a coaching change. They got rid of DJ Smith following a 4-game losing skid week before Christmas. Merry Christmas, DJ Smith. Jacques Martin will be the interim coach. And less than a week ago, there was another coaching change in pro sports where the LA Chargers fired their head coach and general manager with only 3 games left in the season. And the question is, do midseason changes like that help or hurt a professional sports team? What do you think, Lance?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. This whole thing with it kind of tweaked me a little bit when when this DJ Smith got let go, and he's one of the longer term guys at like 5 years. I think that the coach in Tampa Bay. He's been there for 10 years, and he's the longest serving coach right now in the game. And it just seems that when these things happen, you kind of wonder, does it make a difference when they do that? What is the difference maker? Some teams do better. Calgary didn't do any better after Daryl Sutter got let go. And then you see the Edmonton Oilers are starting to starting to move now in regards to the change that they made. And I didn't think that Will Croft was that bad a coach. Took them to the semifinals last year to the Stanley Cup. They were playing well, and then all of a sudden, the start of the season, things aren't going well. I think the Calgary Flames haven't really had a big success story from their change. Daryl Sutter, Hubador hasn't really played as well as he could. So I just found it really interesting that these coaches seem to be changed, so rapidly, and they all seem to recycle through the league. So it does. The one coach goes here, another coach goes there, and they end up coaching somewhere else. And some guys do get a chance to break in coming up from the minors, which has been happening more now, I think. I just don't know if there's that motivation really does make that change. I guess a change of pace for line changes. Different guys get different chances. Football, I'm seeing football's had like a rapid coaches being let go. And maybe you could speak to that, Gary, and how that could change the team's dynamics rather quickly. I think it would change a lot more in football than it would in hockey. That's my thought, because you're going to get different play strategies and different things like that. But the LA Chargers, I think the coach, the guy who was in the intermission, the halftime, saying they should fire him right now. So that was kind of an interesting take on that. So, but Gary, do you find in football, or have you found that coaching changes? You've been in that position yourself.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think with a change, and maybe this relates more to hockey. There can be a initial boost, and I don't know whether it's in some cases the players they want to impress the new bench boss, and they come to the rink with a different attitude. I think in football, I think you have to look at, and you mention it, at scheme and how you play. It's imperative that you get the right pieces in the right places, and maybe somebody else coming in, can make some changes in that regard. The worst thing you can do in coaching is have a philosophy, and you try and place that philosophy on your group, and that group may not be the best skilled to play the way you want to play. And so somebody else might come in and recognize that to a certain degree and change some kids around, and it's inconsistent. You don't know for sure whether it's gonna work or not. Um, if your team's not winning and you're not having success, you hear all the time that they can't get rid of the players. So the easiest thing for the GM to do, he's not going to fire himself, so he gets rid of the coach, and that seems to happen. And it's a shame, as you said, a week before Christmas for DJ rather, that's pretty tough.
I think if a coach has lost a room, I don't think it really even matters what point of the season it is. I think if a coach just has lost the group, a coaching change is probably never a bad thing. To wait till the end of the season to make a change, I don't know what's really the point of just prolonging it. With the Chargers, I certainly got the feeling that team had really just sort of fallen into some bad disarray under that coach and the general manager too. That wasn't just a coaching change. So with 3 games left in the season, why not make that change now, get sort of a better, more positive vibe, hopefully more positive vibe for the last 3 games and have some good feelings heading into the off season.
Well, sometimes it's the players that have to take account when that happens. I guess they have to kind of take a look in the mirror when the coach is let go. I mean, it's not always the coach, not always their system, but there is some merit to it that you can't wait. Do you wait? You know, the timing is tough to make a decision on whether you're going to wait or not, and whether you're going to make those decisions. Maybe, you look at baseball does all theirs. A lot of their coaching changes don't happen mid-season. So I think in the basketball is the same way. They seem, and they talk about, they don't really fire, they mutually release or something like that kind of concept. I find in hockey, it's like, if they're not winning, you're gone, kind of an attitude. So it's every sport has a little different approach to it, I think.
In baseball, in the history of baseball, there have only been 2 coaching managerial changes mid-season where a team went on to win a championship. And one was with the Yankees in the late 70s, where they got rid of Billy Martin and brought in Bob Lemon. And then 2003, Florida fired their manager, Jeff Torberg, mid-season, brought in Jack McKeon, and he won a World Series with the Marlins. But that's the only 2 times in history that's ever happened in baseball, where a team went on to win a championship after a mid-season change like that.
I think being able to relate to your kids, to your players, is paramount. And as you said, if the coach loses the room, it's really going to be hard to be successful.
I think that scenario last year in Vancouver with Bruce Boudreau was awful, though. I mean, they had him hanging there, and it was like, and he handled it so well with the media too. Watching him talk to the media and stuff, some of their interviews with him, and he didn't even know what was happening himself. And those types of things, I think it's better just to walk in and just cut the cord, as opposed to letting them drag out like DJ Smith went through and Bruce Boudreau went through. And I mean, sporting world's cruel when it comes to things like that, for sure. But it just interests me watching this carousel of coaches and going from different places to different teams doing the same thing, and some are successful, some aren't.
Yeah.
As a coach, you're hired to be fired.
Yeah.
I think when you take on that role, you know that going in. That there's very few that stay in one place for an extended period of time. So that's just the business.
Yep. All right, great discussion, guys. Let's move on. The new professional women's hockey league, the PWHL, will face off. They'll make its debut on New Year's Day. It's a 6-team league, 3 teams in the U.S., 3 teams in Canada. And this isn't the first attempt at a women's league, but this seems to be the highest profile and the best start that a women's league has ever had. And I'm just wondering what we all think this league will need to be successful. And I'll start by just saying I think this is really up to the corporate world and the fans to throw their support behind this new league. There's no question that there are fantastic women's hockey players out there. They held a sort of a free agent period where each team got to sign 3 players. Then they held a draft, and 90 players were drafted. And believe me, they had great players to choose from in that draft. They picked 90 out of a potential 280 something. So the players are going to be good. The product on the ice is going to be fantastic. But I really think this is now up to the corporate world and the fans to throw their support behind this league and fill the seats and provide some much needed cash to make this thing go. What do you think?
Well, I think that the biggest thing, as you said, it was if they have all the marketing that's involved now in sports, if they get strong marketing and strong corporation support, that'll be the first thing they have to have. And mostly they need to have a competitive league. You can't have a 2-team league like the international stage with US and Canada.
Yeah. Other
countries are starting to catch up. But I really believe that they're gonna make a good run at it, because I mean female hockey is growing rapidly in the country. It's become there's a lot of great female athletes coming out of hockey right now and playing at a high level. We got female officials coming through the system that are going to be ready to work those leagues at a high level. And they did it right by not starting out until they're ready to go. It's going to be a short season, get a good look at it, and then come back next year with some excitement again. I think I'm really going to be interested. I'm going to try to watch it, because I think it's going to be really interesting to watch, because those girls, their skill level is getting to such a level now where they're going to make it interesting out there to watch the hockey games. You just have seen a big crowd at Kitchener for the U.S.-Canada, that Summit Series they're having. And a lot of people watch it on TV, and I think it's got some good exposure right now.
Yeah, I think that it's such a great product. The women's game is it's so good. And as you said, Lance, it's not just 2 teams, Canada and the U.S. as in the World Championships. It seems to always come down to them. This should be very competitive with the kids spread out among 6 teams, 3 in the U.S. and 3 in Canada. So I think if it's a good competitive product, as skilled as they are, people will come out. And I know that Toronto team is going to play at the Mattamy Center there at the old Maple Leaf Gardens upstairs. Great venue. We got kind of a Laurier component with this new league. Liz Knox, Laurier goaltender. She also played pro hockey, I think, for 5 years in that former women's league. She's an executive director of the New Players Association. As I said, I'm very confident that they're going to be successful.
Yeah. I like the size of that venue too that the Toronto team is going to play in, that Mattamy Center. It's about 3,800, which will be, if they can fill it, which will be a real nice size. Apparently Ottawa has sold out its first game. They're playing in a rink that I think is about 6,500. A little concerned about the Minnesota franchise. The rink they've chosen in is it's a big NHL rink. It's 18,000 capacity, and I'm just afraid that that's going to look empty. But I think venues are important. I think Toronto's made a nice choice there. The product is great. I remember covering the 1997 World Women's Hockey Championship in Kitchener. And it was, again, Canada versus the U.S. as it's always been. But what a great tournament that was. The final, the place was packed, the Kitchener Auditorium. And that's been a generation ago now. That'll be 27 years this March. But that's been a generation ago. And the league the women's hockey has had so much to build on over the years that I'm really hoping that this is the one that really puts it over the top.
Well, the venue you speak of, like that is important, because I know with junior hockey and that, when they're putting, the team like in Hamilton, when it had the team there, it with the crowds they were getting, if they get great crowds, yeah, it's awesome. But when you're not getting great crowds, it can kind of take away from things in a lot of ways for the fans, and that it's kind of, it doesn't have the same ambiance that most rinks will have with the big crowds filling the building. I think that's going to be they're sold out in Toronto for every game for the season, so nice. It should be good to watch that for sure. And I think the venue, like you say, is important. Where they play will make a big difference.
I'm surprised that they made that decision in Minnesota. The atmosphere is so key, and they could get a similar crowd as they're getting in Ottawa. 6,500 though in an 18,000 seat venue, it is not going to be nearly the same.
No,
I'm surprised that that they went ahead and did that. That's part of that marketing, and you'd think they'd be consistent right across a 6-team league in what they were looking for. But we'll have to see. Maybe they'll put 12 or 13,000 in there.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. But again, like I said off the top, fans have got to support it. You just can't. You can't not show up if you live in one of these markets. And again, there's only 3 Canadian teams in Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa, but fans in those cities have got to show up and support these girls.
I think it'll really come down to how competitive the league is and how good the games are when they play is still going to be a big factor. If they have one team that's dominating the whole league, you might find this not as interesting for people to watch. But if they see this run to the playoffs, if they see this excitement of who will get in the playoffs or who will get to win the championship, and it's going to be something where you want to watch to see what happens, I think it'll make people really start to want to watch the games and stay with that sport. But if it becomes like a 2-team league, that'll be the problem they may run into.
Yeah,
and that'll be that won't help them at all.
Yeah. Well, we certainly wish the league all the best. I really want to see it to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be terrific. And girls hockey across North America is just huge right now. Even I was in Vegas last year, and they were talking about how girls hockey is the fastest growing girls sport in the state of Nevada. I'm sure it's all because of the success of the Golden Knights, but I mean, girls hockey is just exploding, and this would be terrific for this league to really take off. All right, great conversation, guys. Spengler Cup will open on Boxing Day, and this is a tournament that has been around for 100 years. First Spengler was 1923. It's always held in Davos, Switzerland. And Lance, you've got a real connection to it because you officiated there. You've been to Spengler Cups. You've seen it firsthand. Canada has a team in it again this year, one of 6 teams in the tournament. Bruce Boudreau, who you mentioned a few minutes ago, will be the head coach. Joe Thornton is Canada's GM. What are your thoughts heading into the Spengler, and how will Canada do this year under Bruce Boudreau?
Well, yeah, the Spengler Cup is a very special tournament, and some people think it's an international tournament. Really, it doesn't have any international status as a tournament at all. It's been a tournament that's been around, like you say, since 1923. They played outdoors at that tournament until 1975. And then they had that chalet built there that they have the beautiful arena that looks like a chalet. And there's a real interesting note to that. Then after 25 years, they've been in that building. It's made of wood. That whole building is made of wood. Another thing that's interesting about the Spengler Cup is that it's named after Dr. Carl Spengler. And it was a tournament that he started just to bring after World War I to get people into, internationally to come together kind of thing. But Dr. Spengler found the air there in Davos. It has qualities that's good for people's respiratory, for them breathing. And there's a Spengler Institute there that is all devoted to respiratory and breathing, for people who have problems breathing or have asthma and those types of things. So those are kind of interesting, side notes to the Spengler Cup. But as a tournament, it is fantastic. It's an amazing tournament. And Canada is always a big part of that tournament because they're there pretty well every year. So it's a very competitive tournament. but it's people come from all over to come to that tournament and spend a week in Davos. So yeah, it'll be a wonderful it's a wonderful experience to go through. So I'm really interested because Bruce Boudreau is such a I know Bruce pretty well. I refereed him when he was in the minors, and he's quite a character when you get to meet him off the ice and that. They call him Gabby because he talks a lot. Don't start calling me Gabby. But anyways, the biggest thing is that Bruce will bring a lot of color to the media there because they'll get a big kick out of him. He'll make it special for sure.
I think the way this thing is put together in terms of the Canadian team, they bring the kids in they're playing on club teams over in Europe. They'll bring them over here from the minor league, AHL, and so on. And so it's kind of thrown together. I don't know how long their training camp is, but I doubt very much of it's very long. They probably only have a few days prior to get together. And you say you know Boudreau pretty well. He comes across to me, not knowing him at all, as a real players coach. He wouldn't be a big systems guy, and this is perfect. Throw the pucks out there and let's go get them, boys. That's how he comes across, and I think that's perfect for this kind of tournament. And as I say, for putting a team together like they do. So it's a tournament I watch every year. I really enjoy it. It's really fun, and to see our kids play with that Canadian flag on their jersey. It doesn't matter what the name of the tournament is, and you can tell by the way they compete that's so important to them as well, and so I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And Boudreau just seems to me to be the perfect guy, as you've both mentioned, the perfect guy to coach an international team like that at an international tournament. He's got all the respect you could ever want in a coach. He's coached 4 NHL teams. He won a Jack Adams. He was long playing career. And yeah, I've never met him like you, Gary. I've never met him, but he just comes across as being a real players coach that guys enjoy playing for. And I think it'll be a fun event, and hopefully Canada has a real good year.
Some Canadians will be playing on different teams that'll play against Team Canada. And that's an interesting part of it too, because when I was there refereeing, there's a lot of Canadian players that were playing in on that. Like the game I had for the gold medal game, which is another story altogether, but it was a tie game, and the winning goal was scored by Lonnie Bohannes from Canada against Team Canada, playing for Davos, and it was an end-to-end rush. It was an amazing goal. It was a great finish to a great game, but it was Davos against Team Canada, and it was a Canadian refereeing in a game that never happened before with Team Canada playing in the game. So it's there's a lot of little things that happen at that Spengler Cup that are just really interesting, and to note over the years that have gone on, right, with Team Canada and the different players that have played. So.
And the crowds there in Davos they appear on TV like they're tremendous. They fill that place for every game, and the atmosphere must be just great in there.
Yeah, it's when you go to a game and you get prepared for a game, you usually get there like an hour before, and there's nobody in the building really. You walk in like an hour and a half before a game. I got there an hour before the game for that, and you could hear them already chanting and singing in the stands. It was packed just for the warm-up. It was it's an unreal thing to witness, people singing and dancing. And then after the game, they don't leave. They stay and they do that for the teams come out and they do stuff for them, and they have these moments with them even after the game, in Europe like that. I could still hear them in my ears when I was going down the mountain back down to Bern. It was for about 2 hours. I could still hear the people in my ears for that game. It was just, it was quite a moment for me. My sweater was put in the Hall of Fame because of that game, because it was the first time a Canadian played in, or first time they had a Canadian referee a Canadian team in the final at the Spengler Cup, which in those days you didn't referee your own team basically, but in the international competition. But then Billy McCurry did it in 2002 Olympics when he did the final game between Canada and the U.S., which was remarkable achievement for Billy McCreary to do that game. That was the first time in the history of the Olympics that happened. So
when those people were chanting, Lance, they were probably chanting your name, right?
No, they weren't chanting my name. In fact, the coach that won the game still thought I was cheating for Canada.
Well, you didn't do a very good job.
No, I screwed that up, man.
Well, we will certainly watch it. It starts on December 26th, and obviously, good luck to Canada. It's always a great event. Moving on, Gary had an idea that at one point, all three of us over the course of the next few weeks here get a chance to talk about our three most memorable sports viewing experiences, be it live in person or on TV. And Gary, what were your three?
Well, I'll try and be brief. I could probably do a segment on each one of these things. I think, and this may be this would be on your list as well. But if you're around in 1972, I don't know of anything more exciting than that first Canada-Russia Summit Series. It's one of those that where were you when, and the hype prior to. I can remember this Russian team. They're not very good. Their equipment is terrible. Their skates, they don't have good skates. The goaltending isn't very good. And I think we approached it. Our team approached it. This was going to be pretty easy. It's 8-game series, and first game in Montreal. And I think, and also back then, and Lance, you can probably confirm this. Back in the early 70s, players used to come to camp to get in shape. It's not like that anymore. When you come to camp, you better be in shape. So this was our group, coming, getting ready for this thing, and I don't think physically or mentally they were prepared. I can still vividly remember game one in Montreal. We come out in the first 5 or 6 minutes and we're up 2-0. And I thought, this is just what the hype, it's going to happen. We're going to run away with this thing. We lose 7-3. And these Russian kids are pretty darn good. And the goaltending is outstanding. Tretiak's a goaltender. And then we come back, we win in Toronto 4-1. We tie in Winnipeg. And then we go to Vancouver and lose. So we're down 2-1. I can remember Phil Esposito coming on the air after that game in Vancouver and kind of berating the fans, But we weren't ready. We weren't ready for this thing. We go to Russia. We lose the first one over there, and then come back and win the next 3. I've never seen anything more exciting. In hockey, it was phenomenal. It was, and it wasn't just hockey. It was our way of life against their way of life. Canada and Russia, and some of the things that happened over there. Alan Eagleson running across the ice, and I can still see all that stuff. I think it was Parise. You're gonna in the penalty box. He was on the ice. He was going to take his stick to somebody. But it was great stuff. And of course, Paul Henderson, he nets the winner, and we win the last game 6-5. So that particular series is definitely, or that event is one of the ones that I most covet.
No, I mean, any Canadian over the age of 60 would probably have to put that top of the list. I mean, I would have been 13, and I remember watching all those games, and the last one watching it at school, and then we all shut down the school that last day for the game 8, and it was just fantastic experience to watch as a young Canadian, and something I'll never forget.
Well, of course. I mean, like it was. I remember being in class and the teacher bringing in a TV, and we all sat and watched the game. It was it was, yeah. I mean, Paul Henderson. The fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame, it just blows my mind. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But he those goals he scored more. He scored, what was it, 2 or 3 of the overtime winning goals in the last 3 games.
He scored the winner. He scored the winner in the last 3 games.
Yeah, yep. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing that watching him score that goal and excitement and that. I mean, it was tremendous. I mean, we didn't know who these guys were for sure. I mean, I ended up refereeing Igor Larionov. He came over and played for Detroit. I had him in the international competition, that whole Red Army in Calgary, and that's another interesting time with them refereeing that team. They had Kazatonov and they had Fedosov, Larionov, all of them playing at that time, Markov. And refereeing those guys was kind of there's some interesting stories there, I'll say, with that team and the Russians and how they work the international referees, pretending they can't speak English and stuff like that when you're on the ice refereeing. But Igor Larionov was one of the most one of the kindest and one of the best individuals I ever refereed was Igor Larionov. His demeanor and how he talked to you was always respectful, and he was an amazing person off the ice and on the ice. Igor Larionov.
That's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. That I think of Harlamov, probably one of the greatest players in the world, and as you say, we didn't know who they were, but my goodness, what a great hockey player, and what a tragic ending that. For his life, but
yeah,
they were awful good. Yakashev, another big kid.
And their goaltender,
Trechak wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
Well, I remember in '72, Trechak was only about 20 or 21 years old, wasn't he?
He probably. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he was a youngster.
I mean, I remember him coming in as being just a kid that really no one in Canada had ever heard of. And wow, by the end of that 8-game tournament, everybody in Canada knew who Trechak was. Gary, I feel bad, but we're not going to get to your most memorable 2 and 3. We've already gone about 6 minutes on just this one. So
yeah, I was afraid of that. I'll just name them. The 2010 Winter Olympics, and a horse called Big Red, Secretariat, and the Triple Crown. They were my 3. Well, maybe another day we can go through them.
Absolutely, and Secretariat. That's something we can talk about maybe as we get closer to the Triple Crown season, because that was just a fantastic story, and that was '73. So that's 50 years ago already, yeah. And wow. All right, well, let's move on, guys, to our final topic today. Christmas is only days away here, so this is our Christmas show, and we thought it'd be a neat idea. First of all, I'm going to put on a prop here just a second, just to get in the Christmas theme. I'm going to cover my head here. There's my Santa hat. Actually, it's not a hat. It's a big stocking, but it fits my head, so I'll wear that. What would we like to see our favorite sports teams get for Christmas from Santa Claus? Gary?
My team that I'm hopeful will get what they wish is a Laurier football team, and I'm hopeful that Coach Falls and the rest of the staff, Ron Van Moorkirk and Todd Galloway, they're able to go out and recruit and get the kids they want here this winter, and can complement the group that they have coming back. They do have a young team coming back. It's an outstanding football team in my view. They came up short this year in the Yates Cup. So my hope is that they put the pieces together. They work like heck in the off season, and next year come out and we can grab that Yates Cup. The national semifinal next year goes east. So I think there's a nice opportunity for us in the next year or next year specifically to get to the Vanier. So that's my hope, and that's my team.
Lance?
Well, I was going to talk about the Blue Jays, and hopefully that they can bring some hitters in. They can bring somebody home and maybe get some runs next year. That would be my Christmas wish for the Toronto Blue Jays, because they're really the only team I really have a big, kind of a fan thing for. But I also hope for the team, my other team, the referees team. I hope for the referees team out there in the NHL and all the referees that referee in all the local sports, that they make all the right calls and have no controversy, and all the fans love them. That's my wish for all of my referee team.
Well, good luck with that. It's funny. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really have favorite teams. I cheer more for players that I either know or have interviewed in the past and have just sort of liked them as people. So I'm not really a big team guy, but if I'm going to pick a team that I hope something for Christmas, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions and hope that Santa brings them a playoff victory this winter, because here's a team that and I live an hour from Detroit now, so I hear a lot about the Lions in media, local media, and just people on the street talking about the Lions, because a lot of friends are season ticket holders. But here's a team since 1957. They are 1-12 in playoff games. They've won one playoff game since 1957. So they're long due. They've had a great year. They're in first place. And the fans down in this area in Southern Ontario just love the Lions in Windsor, Chatham. And that's my hope, that the Lions will get a playoff win. And hopefully it'd be at home. That'd be terrific, too. They don't get many chances to play playoff games at home. But maybe this will be the year. So that
maybe Randy, you can hope a little bit if you're talking Detroit, just to save a little bit of that hope for the Detroit Pistons, that they possibly win a basketball game here in 2004 or 2024 rather.
Yeah.
They're having a rough run, that for sure. Pistons.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Gary, that Pistons team of the late 80s is such a distant memory now. That team with Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer that won championships, that seems so long ago now in Pistons world. It's almost hard to believe. Yeah. All right, fellas, that's about it. We are to time, and just I guess a couple of things we want to mention. Please remember to like, subscribe, or comment on our show. We do have an email address. It is whatdoyouknowaboutssports@gmail.com. You can contact us and let us know what you think. And it's Christmas, guys, so I wanted to get you both something. I looked it up. This is our 5th show. So the 5th anniversary gift is wood. So I got you both wooden spoons. To be honest, they were just sitting around our house. We were probably going to throw them out anyway. So you can have them. Merry Christmas.
That's called regifting. That's not allowed. That's regifting. That's some poor people gave you that for a Christmas gift, and you're giving it to us now.
I don't even know that it's regifting. It's finding something better to do with something that I was going to throw out anyway.
Yeah, Randy, just to end this thing, I want to wish all our viewers a happy and safe, healthy holiday season, and we certainly appreciate the fact that you're looking in, and we look forward to continuing this into 2024. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone out there.
That's what I would say. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a safe holiday, and all the best for the new year. And we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Very good. We'll see you soon, guys.